Yeah, I do have an answer. And, this is the beauty of this answer. It could be used across everywhere. So it's not related to specifically marketing, I would say. So I don't accept no as an answer.
There are secrets out there, guys, performance marketing secrets, and knowing just one or two of them can absolutely light up your funnels. Let's go. This is the Revenue Driven CMO. I'm your host, Chris Mechanic. Join me as I uncover the secrets of the world's most elite CMOs and marketing leaders. The Revenue Driven CMO is sponsored by Web Mechanics, the AI driven performance agency that makes you smarter.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Revenue Driven CMO. I am your man, Chris Mechanic. I'm super excited for our guest today. He is a standout marketing leader. He's a strategist known for his ability to really move the needle and deliver exceptional results. He's been a marketer for over 15 years, but remarkably, for the last 10 years or so, he's been very systematically working his way up at his company Creatio. When you look at his LinkedIn, he's had like basically 8 different positions in the last almost 8 years, from senior marketer to head of content to head of PR to head of demand gen to director and then deputy director, and now finally has hard earned the title VP marketing at Creatio, which is a really interesting company and no code platform to automate CRM workflows, which we'll be hearing about. But they just recently raised $200 million at a $1.2 billion valuation. That's billion with a B. So they must be onto something. They must be doing something right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mr. Volodymyr Korol, VP Marketing at Creatio. How are you, Volodymyr?
Hi, Chris. Thank you very much for having me. I'm good. I'm great, actually. Thank you so much.
That's
Yeah, but
awesome.
there's a lot of great to hear about myself. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, thank you for having.
My pleasure. My pleasure, man. Yeah, it's great to have you. And you know that we're all about delivering value here. Our readers, or our listeners rather, they're marketers through and through. But you have had some phenomenal success, and I'm wondering, like, what do you chalk it up to? What would you say is one of your biggest secrets to success at marketing?
Yeah, I do have an answer. And, this is the beauty of this answer. It could be used across everywhere. So it's not related to specifically marketing, I would say. So I don't accept no as an answer, I would say. You know, uh, I guess
Interesting.
that's something that we've learned. I've learned at Creatio, basically. That's a part of all culture. So we always identify a path. We always know how to resolve an issue. If we don't, we will find a path. And I believe, my personal belief, my vision is there is no. There should be a path on how to resolve a specific issue. It basically reflects. It's reflected in everything what I do in my career. That's why, like you can, as you see my growth path within Creatio or overall. So that was the result of this approach to life, to my work, to how I organize my workflow, to organize the workflow of my teams. And basically, it's reflected across everywhere. So when it comes to, for example, a negotiation, and in marketing, you have to negotiate a lot. You hear the price, and you don't imagine, you feel like it does not match what you have been expecting, doesn't match your budget, doesn't necessarily fall into your expectation, but there's always a way you can negotiate, and having this vision and mindset, I believe we were using that internally pretty like a lot, that helped to achieve anything. So if we have a goal, so we're going to figure out on how to achieve it. There is no way you cannot achieve it. Everything is possible, everything is doable, everything is resolvable, and there is no problem you cannot resolve. So I do believe, I'm pretty sure that's my superpower, because always, sometimes I think this is very ambitious, like this target is going to be super ambitious for the next year, but let's see. I know there's always a way, there's always a path on how you can achieve this specific goal, and how you can achieve this number, and how you get the price, and how you get or how you can generate that kind of a funnel, how you can achieve this evaluation of the organization. So that's something I've been learning for the last 10 years. And I do believe now it helps me a lot in my life, in my career. And I think that's something that would help anyone. If you adopt this kind of approach, you would understand that everything is doable and you can achieve everything. It's just a matter of operational organization of yourself and the planning and prioritization. Other than that, you can do everything. Like we have immense capacity of our body, of our brain, and I do believe we can do anything we want if we want that.
Yeah. So just don't take no, just
Yeah,
like figure it out, bulldog your way through it,
yeah,
or get creative with it.
yeah. It
Um,
shouldn't be a hard path
that's
though. It could be an easy one, But think about that. There is always a way. It shouldn't be like you should not like struggle with each and every decision. It could be a very easy solution, which is not laying outside, but there is always one.
yeah. No, I like that. So where did that come from? Is that from Creatio or
I
is that
think so.
from
I think so. Yeah, that's a part of our culture. So we always like we never when we see the goal, we never think about it as something that we have to challenge. We understand this is the goal. We have to achieve it. Let's find a way. Uh, because there is a way. Obviously, there is a way. You see, so many organizations are super successful, and the market is huge. So there is an opportunity. So I think so. I guess I've learned that at Creatio, first of all, and I've adopted that approach in my personal life, even. So if there is a no table available in the restaurant, so there should be. I mean, let's see. When is the next one is going to be occupied? 1 hour
yeah,
is
or maybe we
okay.
can sit at the
Yeah,
bar,
yeah. We can sit at the
right?
bar. There is always a way, and you will find.
Is the bar open, Sam?
Yeah.
No, that's good. I like that. Can you think of an example or tell us a story of a time where, maybe you were given a target that even seemed ambitious to you and you were like, "Man, I got to figure this out." And then, against the odds, you went to achieve it?
Uh, I have a lot of them. I guess that's how we work. So
Yeah.
you can those. I remember once when we were organizing our product release, and typically how we handle product releases, it's not just about we publish a what's new page and that's it. So we typically do something big for our audience, for our community, because we have a lot of partners, we have a lot of customers around the globe. And I remember the discussion was like, we have to have someone very famous, like, I don't know, Steve Jobs. Unfortunately, we cannot have him.
I was gonna say Mike Tyson,
Mike,
not exactly Steve
yeah,
Jobs, but
yeah, but someone super
he
famous.
draws a crowd.
Yeah. And but at the same time, let's be cautious about the resource, about the budget and everything. So we were thinking a lot about that one. And eventually we had our product release featuring Steve Wozniak, who is the co-founder of Apple. And at first I wouldn't even imagine that would be possible. So we are having our product release presenting together with Steve Wozniak. We're shooting this beautiful video in California, but it was possible. So that was a
Wow.
very ambitious one for us, even though we haven't had like a specific idea in mind at that point. But we did with the team, we did come sit down, think about everything, come up with this idea, and like executed it. That's it. That's the matter of
Wow.
yeah.
So your boss was like, "Get Steve Jobs," and you were like, "Look,
No, no.
I don't want to.
She
I don't want to take no for an answer, but Jobs, unfortunately, sir, is dead." And then your boss is like, "Well, get Woz," and you were like, "Woz?" All right, fine. I'll go get Waz.
No, Catherine, she's very reasonable. She knows a lot about industry. So basically, I had a lot to learn from her. Yeah, but at the same time, she always raises the bar for us. So always raise the bar, exceed expectations. So we did.
That's awesome. Is she the CEO,
Yeah,
Catherine?
he's the
Or
CEO and founder. Yeah,
oh wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to hear that story about Waz. Did he do it for free, or how did you get him to? Or
No,
you paid him?
I'm not. Yeah, we did. We did. That's a
Yeah,
sponsored opportunity. Yeah, but not sure I can disclose all of the details of that one. Yeah,
right.
that wasn't the easy one, but that's
Catherine's
all the
like,
team.
get Waz and get him for free.
Yeah,
Your budget is zero. No, just kidding.
to advocate for
Just
us
kidding.
for years, right?
But that's huge, though.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, we
Steve Wozniak. That's awesome.
um yeah
Very cool, man. Well,
yeah we
I
had a
know I
we had the release. I guess that's going to be relevant or for your audience specifically. We had the release with Seth Godin, so who's the very well famous author of all of the
yeah,
books that we know as marketer.
Purple Cow.
The Purple Cow, yeah. So yeah, we have been shooting the release with him. Another one in New York, close to where he lives. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
one. I very much encourage you to watch that one.
that's awesome. Yeah, I will check that out. But I like the advice too, also about not taking no for an answer and being resourceful and figuring things out. And I've noticed, because over the years I've interviewed and hired, probably hundreds of people at this point.
Okay.
Uh, and there's a distinct difference among people, and it's very noticeable when you meet somebody who's got this sort of just like get it done type of mindset and attitude versus somebody that you give them a challenge or you give them an assignment and they just keep raising their hand and tell you all the reasons that it can't work or that it can't happen versus other people are sounds more like you where they're figuring out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, and that manifests itself in a lot of different ways. Like one of the simplest ways will be the amount of time somebody spends like trying to figure out a problem before asking somebody for help. Like we realized in our earliest days, we all worked in a small room, and there were some people who were just constantly like, raise their hand and ask a question. And at a certain point, we're like, yo, just Google it.
yeah.
Like you could have Googled this in 5 seconds and figured out the answer. So then we made a rule that was basically like, okay, Google it first and spend like 5 or 10 minutes, but don't spend 2 hours on it. Like if you find yourself spending more than 30 minutes or an hour and there's somebody sitting right next to you that probably knows the answer, like then go ahead and ask.
That's a very
But
nice one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
If you can spend 5 minutes on Google, so please do that. Yeah,
yeah.
before going further. Yeah,
And sometimes you spend 5 minutes on Google and you learn something that, the person sitting next to you who answered the question might not have known.
yeah,
So it's valuable. Cool, Volodymyr. Well, I know I said, hey, let's not make this a product pitch. Let's not talk too much about Creatio, but I am very curious about it. I want to hear it, or I want to hear about it, and I want to give you a chance to share with the audience because you guys are a pretty large company. I personally was not familiar with the company until recently. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? Like, how would you describe it in your own words?
no, of course, of course. Yeah, happy to do so. So yeah, try. I will try to be very short and efficient. So Creatio is we're the vendor of a no-code platform, which covers a lot of different use cases, both customer facing, which is like the CRM as you can envision them in a very classical way, to
Mhm.
some a vertical niche specific custom operational workflows that are, I don't know, you run a manufacturing organization, you need to automate something very specific, tailored to your organization or to your industry. So basically, that's a no-code platform, and on top of that, we have solutions for to automate basically any workflow. Any workflow that you need, you can automate. We have 4 flagship products, which is our CRM, marketing, sales, and service. You can purchase them separately. You can use them as one solution. And the studio product, which is the no-code platform itself, in case you need to build something on top of the platform without coding.
I see.
Yeah, the beauty, I guess, the core beauty of it, not the only one, is that's the unified platform. So all of the products are using the same database, the same UI, the same interface, and you can automate the entire customer journey from like the very initial lead generation or some brand awareness campaigns, demand generation campaign to the ongoing account maintenance. So you can have
I
that
see.
access to the entire customer journey. Like compared to some of our competition, that's different to HubSpot or any other MarTech solution, for example, because that's going to be closest to the audience. Uh, and also, like the one of the differentiators is the no code and AI. I would say AI powered no code capabilities. So you
Mhm.
can leverage AI to basically build build applications to automate workflows. You can do everything without coding, so you don't need like a partner to help you with creating those solutions on top of the existing infrastructure that you have, or just using out of the box capabilities. So using no code capabilities at Creatio, you can build any application, any workflow, any use case can be automated using the product. So uh, we are the power users of our own platform, and our marketing team can do their own automation on their own, so we don't have to run after IT each and every time we need a custom workflow or a dashboard or an integration, So I guess that's
Yeah,
the biggest beauty of it.
I see. So this isn't something that sits on top of a Salesforce or a
No,
HubSpot. This would be like a competing product.
yeah.
Like you would either have this or HubSpot.
Yeah, we are pretty well recognized in the industry. So we are the leaders in the marketing automation platforms quadrant, Magic Quadrant of Gartner. So
Mm.
we are sitting with like the biggest vendors in the market. We have been recognized also in SFAMQ, in the CECMQ, local application platforms MQ. So I think Gartner speaks the best about how we are positioned in the market, because they're like the biggest top experts in the market, I would say. Yeah, we have around 700 partners around the globe. We have more than 700 people now. So yeah, that's definitely not something that sits on top of Salesforce. On Moreover, a lot of organizations are now switching from Salesforce to Creatio because, yeah, I'm not sure I can disclose those reasons. Yeah, but for people using Salesforce, I guess they are obvious. Hope you're not using Salesforce.
I personally do not. We
Okay,
have, I mean, a lot of marketers do, right? Like,
that's
especially
true.
in the world
True.
of B2B, B2B tech, most of the companies that I speak with are on Salesforce. It's almost an assumption. Like when you're first meeting them, it's like, oh, what do you guys like, HubSpot and Salesforce?
Yeah,
Um, but I can say from my own personal experience with Salesforce, uh, I know that it's powerful. I think people are not most most companies are not using it to its full potential, but the UI really sucks. Like I feel like the UI has like been the same since,
for for
2005.
yeah, for so many.
And I'm like
True.
I'm like, you guys are a pretty big company. Like you can't get a designer to like freshen this up a little bit and make it a little more
Yeah.
enjoyable to be in there.
That's a benefit and a problem at the same time, because you cannot implement changes, you cannot make drastic improvements to a product because you're very big, and you're just too big, and it takes too much time to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know a lot of marketers using HubSpot and Salesforce. That's going to change. I cannot call it the legacy software, but to some extent it is. So it was just a norm at some point to have Salesforce. It was just,
Right.
yeah, but it is expensive. It is cumbersome. the UI is not the best, so there are a lot of reasons why that's going to change, and that is changing already.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. Um, going up, regardless of whose product is better, going up against Salesforce or HubSpot from a marketing standpoint has got to be a challenge. Like they're very well funded and very smart, and I know they have a lot of really smart people. But how are you guys going about customer acquisition? Like, what do you see really working and being effective in terms of like a new customer acquisition motions for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first, I would say that's important to know that we are a pretty marketing driven organization. So
Mhm.
uh, we have a target and we are the first ones to execute. So we're not relying on sales, to generate those leads if we're lagging behind those numbers that we have in place. So we are a very, very marketing driven organization, and we tend
Mhm.
to push forward the entire funnel. Uh, I guess speaking about marketing from a channel or the source perspective, we have a pretty healthy mix of channels. So it's not about one channel that is working better than the other. We have a pretty big team in house. So we call it the growth team. So it's not a marketing team, and I guess the name of it speaks to how we execute, because everything that we do is focused on growth. We are growing like 50% year over year, and we have to keep the pace. Not even keep the pace, but scale and ideally accelerate the pace, despite, like the market has been tough. The US market has been tougher compared even to some European markets, and the response is not that good for some organizations, but not for us. So we still maintain the same 50% year over year growth. In terms of the channels, I would say everything works pretty good. So like paid, our channel network works pretty effectively. So that's a big channel for us. Analyst relations, SEO, all of the other digital aspects. Uh, yeah, email marketing is kind of a different one here, and we can not put them in one row. But at the same time, that works pretty good as well for us. So I would say like pretty much all of the channels, all of the team are delivering, contributing to the number. I cannot like pick one that works better than anything else. But yeah, I guess that's the beauty of it, that we have a very healthy mix, and we're not relying on one specific channel. If it stops working, so the entire funnel stops. So keeping that healthy mix of channels is the essential towards being able to properly scale and grow.
Mhm. Okay, so you guys are focused on channel diversification, it sounds like,
Yeah,
and having multiple streams coming in.
yeah, and yeah.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
are there so definitely you've got search, right?
Of
Like
course.
SEO, SEM is up there. Definitely you've got social partnerships. It sounds like you've got a lot going on.
Right.
Um, are there any like new or emerging channels that you guys are testing or experimenting with?
I would
Like
say
YouTube, for instance, I'm wondering about.
Uh, I guess we have been experimenting with YouTube, but that requires a lot of resource. So we're focusing on what works more, because it's the matter of prioritization. You can do everything at once, but if you don't prioritize, you're gonna lose track of what's important for you and what's important for the funnel. Uh, yeah, we tend to focus our efforts on specific lead categories. So it's not about generating MQLs only, it's about generating those who would request a demo, who are ready to talk. So capturing the existing demand first of all, and then our effort goes to generating demand, because uh, the market itself is pretty aware. So the majority of the organizations are already from our total addressable list. They know what CRM is. They either have one or they are considering one now, which is a bit late in 2024. But there are some organizations that don't have any CRM in place. So yeah, we build our planning based on the lead categories, but I don't believe we have been experimenting a lot. I would say we have been scaling a lot our regional marketing efforts. So that wasn't that that like extensively developed in the organization like 2 years ago, for example. So for the last year, for the last 2 years, we have been focusing a lot on regionalizing everything, our efforts, because we work with pretty
Hmm.
much all of the regions, and we have to replicate the success, which is not always possible because you cannot take the same approach in each and every country. So you have to have people boots on the ground in a specific area, in a specific country or region, to get a better understanding of what works. For
Yeah,
example, yeah, in Europe, like Spain and France would be, or Germany, they would have very different understanding of the product. They have very different needs. They consume the content differently. So you cannot just take one strategy which has been working, for example, in the US or the UK, and replicate it right away. So that's something we have been figuring out for the past year, I guess. And
that's interesting.
yeah, that's working pretty effectively now. So we have a great team of regional marketing managers who started working with more with our partners regionally, because they have experience, they know what's working, they have the connection to the industry. We started working with the PR agencies regionally as well, scaling our efforts in like different countries, like Poland, for example, which is
That's really cool.
yeah, one of the like fastest growing economies in the European Union. So yeah.
What is one way that, like, one surprising way that it's different, say in France or in Spain? Like, what are the differences? Meaning,
Uh,
like they don't download content, everything has to be
uh,
ungated, or
yeah,
like how is it?
let's take one as an example. Let's take search volume, for example. So it could be in France, it could be like, I don't know, 10,000 searches. In Spain, it could be 50. So they're drastically different, and you like using just the same semantic or just a same set of keywords doesn't work. It's just not working. So you have to
Yeah,
research, you have to localize, you have to dive deep into the detail, because the same strategy will not work for both. It's just not
yeah,
possible. Uh, like the understanding of the market, like in our case, the no-code market, is very much different. Like some of the countries were lagging much behind than the others in terms of the awareness, not even the adoption, but awareness of what exists, like what could be the approach to CRM. So completely different realities.
yeah. And in a country like France, for instance, are they mostly searching in French, or is it
Yes,
like a
right.
combination of French and English?
French are searching in French. Yeah, I mean,
And
French people love French. I guess you've been to France, so they wouldn't be very much willing to talk to you in English. They would try to switch you
yeah,
to French immediately. So yeah, in French, it's very specific. There is some search volume in English, obviously, because there are a lot of foreigners, but the primary one is, of course, French. So they would like to consume all of the ad copies, all of the content in French specifically.
I see. So they have their own name for CRM, or do they just call it
For
customer
for s- for
relationship?
CRM, that would be CRM as the abbreviation, but for many other
Yeah,
terms, they have their own names. Yeah,
interesting,
same
interesting.
in Spain, so that's different. Yeah,
Yeah, very cool, man. Um, so let's talk AI a little bit. I know
of
we've been
course.
we've been meaning to do that. Uh, you mentioned you guys are like the biggest power users of your own
Right.
product and eating your own dog food, so to speak. Um, how have you guys been using AI, or like to what extent, are you using it in your day to day?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, I guess. It is important though to understand two parts of AI, so that was one era of AI before Gen AI, and now it's the other one after Gen AI has been so popular and has became so popular. So we've been using AI for years. So Creatio had AI, I don't know, for since the very beginning of the product when the product was created. So we have been using machine learning for lead scoring. We have been using machine learning for forecasting, for a lot of like very basic use cases, that you can envision for AI. But recently, it was March, I guess, we have introduced our Copilot, which is primarily powered by Gen AI, and that has changed the game. I mean, Gen AI is changing the game for pretty much everyone now in the market, and that's the same for Creatio as well, because the the ability to the number of use cases has grown drastically. So now basically you can do anything with AI and Copilot. Use cases like summaries of a dashboard, uh, or you can the Copilot would understand the context of a page, of a specific page in the CRM, and it would provide you with a summary and some ideas on what can be done, what needs to be done, and what has been done to that specific number, and you can follow up with any questions, or you can come up with the email template based on the previous performance. So you can ask Copilot to basically, can you please put together an email taking into account the performance for this specific cohort or this specific segment in the system, to make sure that the open rate is higher. So that it will do that. And there are like dozens, I'm not sure if hundreds, are probably dozens for marketing of those use cases. But yeah, the beauty of Creatio that you can create your own using no code and using the workflow automation capabilities in Creatio. So you can create any use case on top of that. And yeah, we're using it to for many use cases. That helps a lot because that's basically, where all of us were used to ChatGPT, but the problem with ChatGPT, it does not have the context. It does not have the context of your business. It does not have the context of your business performance. So in order for ChatGPT to be helpful above just putting together an email copy for you, you have to feed it the necessary data, which you cannot feed typically, because I wouldn't be very willing to share the sensitive data with just the open AI public LLM. It's not the best way in terms of data security to do so. So
Right.
yeah, in Creatio you can get like the Copilot understands which kind of data are you're using. It's properly indexed, it's properly segmented and crawled, so you can have access to any insight, to anything.
So Copilot, to so that we can visualize it, is essentially sort of like a persistent chatbot. So as you're navigating from screen to screen in the UI, it's sort of like a persistent and context aware chatbot, where like when you're looking at, suppose like a certain person's contact record, uh, that Copilot has access to that person's contact record. It has access to the company. It has access to the historic deals. So you can, instead of, searching around through the record to see like, hey, when was the last time somebody from XYZ company visited the website?
uh,
Right? Like that
yes.
that might take you 5 to 10 minutes to answer if you're just like clicking through and
Oh
looking
yeah,
at the history,
take
right?
hours to do that. Yeah.
So you could ask that to the Copilot and
Yeah,
just be like, hey,
it's
tell me the last time that somebody from this company visited a web page.
correct. Yeah. Or what was the conversion rate for that specific campaign, for that specific segment of the accounts or contacts, so basically anything. Yeah, but to address your question, I would say Copilot is not only the chatbot itself. So for decent solution, it's not about CRM only. Let's like any customer relationship data, CDP, ERP, CRM, no-code platform, whatever. It's important that it has the proper governance aspect. So at Creatio, we have our common center where you can configure all of the access rights, where you can configure those use cases, what can be crawled, which users have the access to which kind of data, which use cases are like you can use, which are not ready to use because some of the data is not ready for because it's different. Each and every customer has its own data set, has its own data structure. So the first one is the place where you configure and manage everything, uh, govern. In the other words, the other one is the chatbot, which is the customer or user facing piece of functionality. Yeah, and that
Mhm.
one is the one that helps to boost productivity, to cut time spent on just manually looking for data or generating insight summaries, whatever.
Yeah, so you've mentioned like, hey, it can be used for all sorts of applications,
Right.
pretty much anything you can imagine you can use it for. Um, can you give us like one or two of the specific use cases that you guys are using it for, and like what are you using it for most frequently? Is it to get a piece of data, to summarize data,
I would
to draft content? Like,
Yeah, I would say data summarization is the core one. Like there's in marketing, there's so much data points, so many data points, and so much data that you can sometimes it's just very challenging to having data for the sake of data doesn't make any sense. So you have to make and generate some kind of insights and make decisions based on that data. So what's the most important? And Copilot helps a lot with that because it can help see what maybe you're not seeing that on a dashboard or overall in historical data, which is not even visible uh, in a visual presentation on the screen. So summarization and insights, I guess that's the most important one. And yeah, obviously, as marketeers, we're using that to put together some copy, localize the copy. So that's something that is used by the CRM team, by the email marketing team a lot. So yeah,
yeah,
those are the core use cases, I guess.
gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. So you seem to have pretty unique insight, like being at Creatio. Maybe you have insight a little bit into the future. So I'm curious, like if we fast forward, a year or 2 years down the road, like what are some ways that you think marketing will change in the next couple years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I am very much sure. I mean, obviously AI is going to impact that change a lot. So, I do believe that we're going to be moving from so-called copilot to autopilot at some point, where we can provide the context, we can provide the system. It could be any MarTech solution because pretty much all of them eventually will have AI capabilities, each and every system, like Google Ads or any other ad account or any other marketing automation platform, they will have AI capabilities. If not, they're not going to exist in a couple of years. So I do believe that's going to be the autopilot, which is going to change everything because uh, we don't know to which extent AI will be able to make decisions, and it will be at one point will be a matter of how we configure our boundaries. So, for example, you provide a context. So this is the goal. This is the target audience. This is the access to the data. Here is your uh, decision permission framework. So you can make decisions up to $5,000 per day, for example. If you see that you have to adjust the specific bid in the ad campaign, or you have to cut down the spend because you see that some of the campaign is inefficient, you can do that. You can or on the other hand, you can completely give freedom to the algorithm to make decisions on their own. This is not possible yet because of the data. It's not very much unified. The attribution is not smooth. So everyone knows that, so some of the data points are invisible. So it depends. It depends on how well the data is going to be integrated all together and accessible to the large learning model. But I do believe at one point that's going to be completely automated, and we as marketeers we will have to focus on very creative aspects of marketing where algorithm will not be able to help us out with some critical problem solving, business overview, market overview, and I think it's going to free a lot of our time that we're wasting doing manual work. Everyone still does that, I'm pretty sure. A lot of manual stuff we have to deal every day. But at the same time, yeah, it's going to level up our thinking process about the business. And it's not about only the leader role. Leader's role is about like regular people that execute, that launch campaigns, that design content, that put together campaign flows. So that's going to change a lot. Not sure when, though, that's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure pretty soon because he's developing it at an extremely fast pace. So we need to be ready.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, so like let's say once you're using a product for a long time, you've sent hundreds of emails out,
Mhm.
right? So it's heard your tone, it's heard your brand
Right,
voice, it understands the context and the content that you like, and the way that you say things and the way you like to say things. It has access to all of the user data and their interactions with content throughout the site.
right.
Soon there will probably be a day where it just does the email marketing for you.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, hey, Volodymyr, good morning. Welcome to work. Like we suggest sending these 9 emails out to these different cohorts today. Would you like to approve or not approve? And you just like read each one real quick, approve, approve,
right.
approve, or edit a little bit. And then you're like, okay,
And
I'm going to go to the beach now for a couple hours and I'll be back for the afternoon session.
I guess I guess our role should and will evolve respectively. Unlikely,
Probably.
yeah, unlikely it's going to be that
But for new stuff, like it would have no way to know that, hey, Steve Wozniak is coming,
way.
right? So when it needs new context about stuff, that's where the humans can come in.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I wonder how long it'll be until I can just like take this USB-C and just like plug it into my forehead and I won't even need to prompt or provide any context anymore.
Yeah, but that
It'll just know what I'm thinking.
yeah. I'm like one of my hobbies, I guess, is the futurism. So I read a lot about the future and the technology, not about just AI. So I guess that's gonna take more time than machine learn algorithm to develop because that's a matter of biotechnology. As of now,
Yeah.
we're not very far, like not very far, but there is a lot of room for understanding how our brain works. And
Yeah.
quantum
Elon
computing, yeah,
worked on
is the one, but quantum computing is not there to the level as it should be.
You're familiar with Elon's Neuralink
Yeah, of course, of course.
venture?
Yeah,
That's pretty wild.
it is. It
That guy's
Yeah.
crazy.
But he's a very ambitious guy, and that's the matter of execution. We've seen the Cybertruck, and how much time it took him to get this up and running and publicly available. So let's see. Same with the robots, so they say they were all operated by humans at
Yeah.
the events. So I mean, he's pushing the industry forward, but it's the matter of execution, but not only the vision.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, congratulations. It sounds like you guys are doing amazing things. You've got an awesome product. It sounds like your marketing team's on fire. My last question for you today is around challenges. Like, what are the big challenges in your world? What's keeping you up at night?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Chris. So I guess the biggest one is how you stand out. Uh, because that's in some market categories that's not such a pressing question, but in the majority of those it is a pressing question, and the challenge, because like the market is oversaturated. The information environment is completely packed with different types of messaging and information and content. So it's the matter of how you stand out. So I guess that's the challenge for us. Even though we're pretty efficient and effective with that, and we're getting creative, but still, it is a challenging task, and it will be for the upcoming time. So yeah, the second one, I guess, for me personally, is the attribution, because with so many restrictions and data privacy issues, not the issues, but regulations. For marketers, those are issues, but for end users, those designed probably to help them. At the same time, it makes it more challenging to attribute campaigns to the success, to get the necessary data points to make decisions, and it this challenge, I guess, is getting even more complex, because even though we have all of the tools and capabilities to address it, we don't have the data points, and unlikely we're going to be getting more of them. Probably we're going to be getting less. So we have to be creative. We have to somehow identify on how we make decisions, on how we reach the necessary people. Because even though I respect those regulations, but I do believe they're more harmful in the end, rather than helpful, because we're spending money. Users are served with irrelevant advertising and communications. So who wins? We're user is still gonna see a lot of advertising, but I would, as the end user, I would love to see something super relevant, super custom, which is based. I'm ready to give away my personal data for that. I don't mind. I have nothing to hide. So please use it. Please come up with very custom approach, personalized experience, but not just pushing the same message to everyone. I guess that's the challenge, and there will be a point where uh, it's gonna we're gonna turn the other way. I hope so. But at this specific time, it is quite challenging.
Yeah. That's like zero party data. I remember
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
that was a big thing, like in, the earlier 2000s when crypto was all hot and everybody was talking about Web3 and zero party data, and that folks would opt in and basically get paid a little bit for
Yeah.
sharing their data.
Yeah. Uh,
That could be a winning
it
situation.
is. It is a good idea. Yeah. I mean, uh, taking into account how much is being spent every day, it is a good idea to pay some users for getting access to their personal data. I'm pretty much sure a lot of them will be willing to do so.
Yeah, it's like, will you allow cookies? You'll get $2.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
Why
nice
not?
win-win. Yeah.
I would just be going around opting in to all the cookie banners. Be
It,
like, I made $19 today.
and it's fine, because
Yeah.
it's so much easier for us as the marketers than to do anything.
Yeah. Well, hey, this has been awesome, Volodymyr. I know that we are right around at time, but I've enjoyed this. I've left inspired. I'm gonna go around. We use HubSpot. I'm gonna go and actually check out their AI capabilities, but I'm also going to check out Creatio and probably do a demo of it because it sounds really
Please
awesome.
do. Please do. I can arrange one for you.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. So thank you for that. For listeners, if you've learned anything today or if you've enjoyed this, drop us a like or a comment wherever you get your pods, or share this with a friend. We always appreciate that. Volodymyr, for folks that would like to learn more about you or Creatio, where would you direct them?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Or
Beautiful.
you can request a demo of Creatio on the website. But if you have any questions to me, I can arrange a demo for you, or just feel free to reach out. I'm available.
Brilliant. All right,
Great.
Volodymyr, that's awesome.
Much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, stay on the line just 1 second. We're
Of
going to wrap up. But for everybody else, that was another exciting episode of Revenue Driven CMO, and we will see you next time.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us here today. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at revenuedrivencmo.com. That's revenuedrivencmo.com. And hey, exclusive for listeners of this podcast, Web Mechanics will do 10 to 20 hours of work for you for free. Literally no sales calls, no BS. Just give them a problem and they will put a team to work for you for free for 10 to 20 hours. Even if you're already a client, if you're struggling with demand gen, lead gen, SEO, SEM, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, conversion optimization, if you can't get Facebook or Meta ads to work for the life of you, or you can't figure out attribution, Web Mechanics will take a good hard look at whatever problem you give them, whatever programs you put in front of them, and they will give you an objective, informed opinion, plus some advice from 10 to 20 hours of senior level attention. And that's just because you're a listener of this podcast. So I would suggest take them up on this offer. It's ridiculous. Go to revenuedrivencmo.com/free, fill out the 2-minute form, and you will not regret it. Literally zero downside, unlimited potential for growth. So do yourself a favor, revenuedrivencmo.com/free, no hyphens, no punctuations. You will be happy about that decision.